on this whole question of a political debate, I wanted to remind my fellow countrymen and women that if you look at the most famous example of political debate in American history, namely the Lincoln-Douglas debates, they should know that Lincoln and Douglas had many debates and throughout Illinois, and some of their debates lasted for 7 hours. Lincoln speaking for 3, Douglas for 3, and then Lincoln an hour of rebuttal, and then when they moved to the next town, the other way around. Can you imagine an American audience listening to 7 hours of talk today? I doubt it. And if you look at some of the transcriptions of the Lincoln-Douglas debates, it doesn't even seem possible to me that an American audience today could understand the language. The syntax is fairly complex. The references require a great deal of my guess is, Brian, that the electorate in America today, if it heard the Gettysburg Address for the first time, would not be able to understand most of it, if for no other reason than that the syntax is too complex. So one does worry about the fact that language as a means of public communication has become increasingly less important, if that shows my own disabilities in language, but has diminished in its power. President Reagan is a perfect example. Here is a man who is referred to as the great communicator, yet he rarely speaks accurately and never precisely. Yet he's called the great communicator, and probably with good reason. In the 1860s, he would have been unthinkable because he can't talk. But you put him on television and he's dynamite, because people see, let's put it this way, talk about politics for a minute. Politicians, there are two kinds of information in political discourse. What Irving Goffman used to call information you give and information you give off. Now, by information you give, he means words, reasons, explanations, facts, conclusions, language. By information you give off, he means all the nonverbal information that the image gives. Now, the ratio has been changed. Prior to television, people concentrated mostly on the information the politicians gave, their language. After television, they concentrate on the information that politicians give off. So if Bruce Babbitt has pop eyes, or if Paul Simon looks like a maitre d' in a second-class restaurant, or if George Bush looks more like an ex-Tiddlywinks player than an ex-first baseman, this cuts very deep into the consciousness of the public. This is why they all have image managers. I mean, Bush is a very interesting case, because everyone says you put him on television and he looks like a wimp. Now, actually, if there's anyone in this campaign who has better macho credentials than George Bush, I don't know who it would be. I mean, I think he was the youngest Navy airline pilot in World War II. He was head of the CIA. He was a first baseman on the Yale baseball team. I mean, this guy should be like Rambo. You put him on television, and what he gives off is altogether different. So he has to work on what? Not his discourse, not his ideas, but somehow giving off different things from what he gives off.